While California is part of the United States of America, there are things that aren't legal here that are legal other places elsewhere around the country and around the world. California often has some of the most restrictive laws within the United States, and so in this video, I'm going to be talking about some things that are illegal in California, but are okay in, well, frankly, most of the rest of the world. And the first thing that I want to share with you, and what got me really started on this video, is the new California condiment law. And so this doesn't ban condiments outright, but what it does do is it restricts restaurants from providing condiments to you as the customer without your explicit request. So this is phasing in across California. It was passed at the California level, and then they told different cities that they need to write their own laws and they need to figure out how they police it and enforce it. But I recently had this experience where I went to Shake Shack, and at Shake Shack, typically in the bag, they'll toss in ketchup, napkins, and a straw. And I had none of those things. Why did I have none of those things? Because I specifically didn't request any of those things, and they had a long conversation behind the counter about, yeah, unless you specifically request them, you don't get them. Now, the law goes one step further in that it even prohibits fast food restaurants from asking you if you want those things. So they can't even say, do you want a straw? You have to explicitly request it. This is important if you're coming to California and you're taking things to go and you expect all the things you need to eat it to be in there. From now on, they actually won't be, at least in big restaurants, because it turns out this only applies to restaurants that have 26 or more employees. And it's actually called Assembly Bill 1276, and it says a food facility may not provide any single-use foodware, accessory, or standard condiment to a consumer unless requested by the consumer. And so those are more than just condiments. Those include utensils, those include straws, those even include napkins. So you're gonna have very few things. At In-N-Out Burger in Los Angeles, all of the things that used to be self-service that you could get are now behind the counter, and they put up a sign to tell you all the things that they have. But I find this particularly annoying because in a place like a Mexican restaurant that has salsas, you often don't know what they have unless they're self-service. And when we went to El Pollo Loco the other day, they had all the things that used to be turned around to the customers, turned around to face the employees. So even if you wanted a single napkin, you had to ask the people behind the counter for it. And they were not so keen as I went back every minute to be like, can I have a fork? Can I have a straw? Can I have some more napkins? Can I have? But that's what this law has turned into in California. Garrett says, does it include delivery orders? It in fact includes delivery orders too. And what Uber and Lyft and some of these platforms have done is they've created like a checkbox you can check that says request condiments, utensils, but then you need to like write in there the things that you want. The Shake Shack app has done the same thing where they have a box that you can specifically request those items, but if you don't, then you won't get anything. All right. And David says, it sounds like I'm in an empty room. I'm in an empty room. You know what? My main mic isn't working. This would sound better if I actually connected my main microphone. So hold on and I'll do that, and then we'll continue with number 2. All right, this should now no longer sound like I'm in an empty room. All right. The second law in California of things that are illegal here that seem to be okay in the rest of the world is plastic, just about anything. Plastic straws, plastic utensils, not just them giving it to you, but many municipalities, many cities across California have passed laws outlawing almost any form of plastic given to consumers. You'll notice right here, we have a shake, shake from this place called Shake Shack, different Shake Shack than the one from New York. This is the Crystal Cove Shake Shack, but if you notice that big straw, that's actually a paper straw. And so this whole thing started with paper straws by California state law. Full service restaurants may only provide you a plastic straw upon request. And by the way, I know why these straws are put in place. I know why we're limiting plastic. I don't need to be enlightened about this fact, but many municipalities and cities have gone on to ban plastic straws entirely, and then to also go further, like the city of Santa Monica, they have banned all single-use plastic, not just by request, but banned completely. So in Santa Monica, you can't have plastic straws, plastic lids, plastic utensils, plastic plates, bowls, trays, containers, stirrers, cups, and lid plugs. You know those things at Starbucks that you might put in the top to make sure the drink doesn't spill? You can't have those either in Santa Monica. So if you wonder why you're getting a paper straw, or you're getting a paper fork, or you're getting a paper box that isn't as good as your plastic one, well, that is why. So I see in the comment a lot of people don't like the paper straws. Right, Brandon says plastic straws are none for me. I actually, at this point, keep plastic straws in my car. So that if I'm at a place that gives me a paper straw, I go to my car and I get a plastic straw and I put it in. Boston Elevator says, do you need to ask for paper straws? Like, it really depends where. I feel like with these new laws, a lot of places have made it different. But on the pack-in law that's now, that yes, you have to ask for the paper straw. And I think altogether, nobody likes paper straws. All right, and so paper straws are not comfortable, and what happens if you forgot your own plastic container? Well, let's go on to the next one, where the whole war on plastic has gotten a bit ridiculous. So this is number 3. The third thing that is illegal in California, but is okay in the rest of the world, are plastic bags. Hear me out now. Plastic bags for produce. So in most supermarkets around the world, there are the plastic bags that you get like at the cashier to take your stuff home. And in California, for the past few years, we've had to pay 10 cents for those. And many places around the world have decided, well, maybe we should charge people for those so people don't take 80,000 of them, makes them better bags. But what California has done, the first state in the U.S. that has done this, is they are now, California, starting in 2025, is banning the produce bags. The bags that you would put lettuce in, that you would put bananas in, that you would put apples in. So California is banning plastic bags given to you before the cash register. I don't know. What are you going to put your lettuce in now? What are you going to put your fruit in that you don't want to put in the shopping cart or in the basket? Because frankly, those things are gross and you want to keep them kind of clean. Moral of this story is, if you want to use plastic bags in California, you better bring them with you, because you won't find that many here, or the ones that you will find, you are going to have to pay for them. And Phil says, what I wish they would ban would be the money pit train. And Dining with Derek says paper bags work. It'll be interesting to see paper bags roll out in the produce section, because then I think that's just way hard for the cashiers who are now trying to figure out what you got and where you put it. And the paper bag doesn't really seal the same way a plastic bag does. Matthias says, that happens where I live. You pay the bag, but I forgot my own bag, and then I need to be an octopus, right? And you need to carry everything with you. The fourth thing that's illegal in California but is okay in the rest of the world is it is illegal for companies not to warn you, the consumer, of things in the environment or in their products that may cause you cancer. And by the way, the list of things that they need to warn you about, the list of substances that may cause you cancer, this list is over 900 items long. And so what happens in California, you will see these signs everywhere. At Disneyland, when you walk into Disneyland, they have this sign up to warn you that in Disneyland, the Disneyland Resort contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. You go into supermarkets, and at 99 Ranch, a Chinese supermarket, they have this sign on the aisles. You pick up some food, it's on the food. It's on like every single thing. Like in California, you go to a parking garage and that sign's there. You go to a shopping mall, that sign's there. You go to an office building, that sign is there, because apparently everything has been deemed to cause you cancer. And so now are these helpful signs to apparently let us know that we're going to die from doing everything and anything. Ryan indeed says everything causes cancer nowadays, and for sure it does. B&B Production says, I remember getting a toy with one of those warnings and I got super scared I was going to perish because of it, but B&B Productions, you are still here, so that's good. Matea says, I went to a store and they had a sign for recalls of products. That's probably better than just the generic warning that everything here may cause you cancer. Michael wonders if the Welcome to California sign should have it. It should. And Kathy, you didn't see it. It's been there. You probably just didn't see it everywhere. They put it up someplace and they're like, that place is good enough for it. All right. The fifth thing that is illegal in California, but okay elsewhere, is transporting marijuana into the state. This is an interesting one. So California legalized marijuana, but you can only consume it or have it if you've bought it within the state. Even though marijuana is also legal in the neighboring state of Nevada, it is illegal to bring marijuana from Nevada into California. You can't cross the state border with your Mary Jane. So if you did buy that marijuana in Las Vegas and then you're coming to California, finish it up there before you go, because if they catch you crossing the state line, then you're eligible for a fine. The sixth law, things that are illegal in California, this one is also illegal in some other places, but there's an interesting nuance in California that you should be aware of, are the open container laws for alcohol, particularly if you're driving a car. So in California, California Vehicle Code states that it is illegal for any person operating a motor vehicle on California's highways or public roads to have in their possession any bottle, can, or other receptacle containing an alcoholic beverage that has been opened or a seal broken or the contents of which have been partially removed. So if you have a bottle of wine and you're at a friend's house and you drank some of the wine, but you didn't drink it all, you cannot carry that bottle of wine in your car in the passenger compartment, even if it's nowhere near you. If that alcoholic beverage has been opened in some form, it may not be in the car. It can be in the trunk, but not in the passenger or driver portion of the car. So the same goes for any passenger. Your passenger or any of the passengers in the car can't have alcoholic bottles with them. So if there is no trunk, and by the way, this law states you could keep it in the trunk if you have a trunk. If there is no trunk, your other option, if you have an open alcoholic beverage, is to keep it in your car in a locked container. So if your glove box locks, you can keep it in there. If you have a briefcase that locks or a suitcase that locks, I suppose you could put it in there and say it was locked. The same law also applies to cannabis. Needs to be in your trunk. Can't just go to the cannabis store, the marijuana store, buy it, and then keep it on your passenger seat. You have to lock that away. Brandon says the booze stays in the trunk when driving. Mateus says, what happens if it leaks by accident? Yeah, I don't know. I've not been stopped for alcohol that leaked by accident. Dining with Derek says, I know this from the California Driver's Handbook. Yes, if you have a driver's license in California, then you know it. And Ryan says we may have that law in British Columbia too. Kathy says, that's a good reason then to finish the bottle. I think that's a really great way to look at it, Kathy. All right. The seventh thing that's illegal in California is talked about bringing things across the border. In California, California is very strict on the importation of fruit and vegetables. And you may think as a visitor to the United States that if you have fruit or vegetables, that's only important at the skin of the country. But then as you go across the country, whatever you got is okay to bring across different states. Au contraire, in California, it is illegal to transport all citrus fruits from any other state into California. So, another one, if you're in Arizona or you're in Nevada or Oregon, any of our neighboring states, and you've bought an orange, it is illegal to bring that orange, not just an orange tree, not just an orange bushel, but a single orange or a single lemon across the state border from the neighboring states into California. How do they enforce this? On the freeways from the neighboring states, there is always a kind of like produce inspection checkpoint, and for most of the time, they just kind of like look at your car and they wave you on. They're probably most concerned with large trucks that have a lot of citrus fruit in them. But you should know this, because if you do happen to get stopped and you're near the border because you just came in and you've got fruit on you, that's another thing that you could be fined for. It actually goes like further than fruit, like walnuts and pecans, and there's a whole bizarre list of things that are also barred from entering California from neighboring states. Right? Ice Cold Beverage says, there's a reason why they, all of these laws have reasons, frankly. This one was to control pest invasions, and yes, but it's one of those where just a lot of people don't really think about. And Brandon says, yes, a single lemon could get you in trouble. Phil says Hawaii also has strict agriculture import. Hawaii does too, right? You can't bring that banana in or out of Hawaii. Well, you can bring it in, bring it out. If I like bananas on airplanes, but I like, whenever I take a banana on an airplane, I always make sure to eat it while I'm on the airplane, because it's like, you can bring it on the airplane, you just can't bring it to wherever you're going. What's Chris drinking today? Today, Chris is drinking a Thai iced tea from my favorite Thai tea place, Ayara, that's up near LAX airport. Brooklyn Joe said, coming into California, they asked him if he had any fruit, and he said no, but then I saw the big watermelon in the rear glass window after I pulled away. And Steve says, hey, in California, you can't bring an orange, but you can shoot heroin on the street, no problem. What a place. Tatiana says, what about lemon juice? Lemon juice is okay because there are no pests in your lemon juice. Yes, you got to get your citruses and squeeze them while you are driving. Number 8 in California, and this is an interesting one, is that in many cities it is illegal to sleep in your car, even if it's sleeping to take a nap. Actually, so the statewide law, California state law, per the state, it is only illegal to sleep in your car in a single spot for more than 8 hours. But many cities take it further, particularly the beach cities, where actually people sort of like stealth camping in their vehicles and deciding that Santa Monica is a beautiful place for them to live in their RV on Pacific Coast Highway, not having to pay the rent, just living in their vehicle. Every city is different, but most of the cities in California, their laws say that you cannot sleep in your vehicle from the hours of 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. on public property, and also within 500 feet of a residence or school. So van lifers, do beware in California, although I will say since COVID, cities have been really lax on this, like lax to the point where, people have camped in Venice Beach for years and they haven't done anything about it. But that doesn't mean that every city is that way. And so if you are van lifing, like I've heard people who, not just van lifers, but they're like, they stopped their car, they went to take a nap for 15 minutes, and then, the cop pulls up to be like, hey, what's going on? You can't sleep in your car. And I'm like, I can't stop and park here to take a nap. No, the law says no sleeping in your car, period. Marty Mouse says, lots of people sleep at Mission Bay Park in San Diego. Ryan says, can you not sleep in Walmart parking lots then? Walmart parking lots are private property, so the state has no input as to what you can do on private property. If Walmart's cool with it, then the state's cool with it. More and more Walmarts have been cracking down on it because there have been so many people just filling up their parking lots. I don't remember the name of the site, but there's like a site you can look up that like will tell you which Walmarts are cool with you camping in the parking lot versus other ones. And Kathy says, I'm sure kids sleeping is okay. Well, and this is clearly one of those laws where the law doesn't say, kids, right? But clearly, right, our daughter is sleeping in the car, regardless of whether the law wants her to sleep in the car or not. PC Tong says, sleep in your Tesla while your car drives itself. You can do that too. Boston Elevators, by the way, said they're drinking a Thai tea as well. And Brandon said he is drinking a Coke. Those sound like good beverages as well. Phil says, no more tents on the beach in Santa Monica. Right, no more tents on the beach in Santa Monica. So in Santa Monica, it's not one of my list of things, but it very well could be, because I picked 20. But it could be that you can't put a tent that fully encloses itself on many of California's beaches, so that people, A, can't camp there, but B, so that they can't, shoot up, shoot up drugs or things like that in the tent, and then law enforcement can't see them, or that they don't use the tent to sell drugs, not just shoot up or other illegal things away from the eyes of the law. The 10th thing that's illegal in California, but legal in most of the rest of the world, is in San Francisco. Okay, in San Francisco, these next two are both San Francisco. We're on number 9. If I said 10, I'm advancing too far. We're on number 9. In San Francisco, it is illegal to transport bread in open baskets if that bread is destined for human consumption. So, thing you see in Africa or places like that where people have the bread that's on their head as they carry, you cannot do that in San Francisco. The bread must be in a closed container, in a plastic bag, probably is what they put all the bread in, even though we have the war on the plastic bags. It applies to more than just bread, but it also applies to cakes or pastries intended for human consumption. The 10th thing that's illegal in San Francisco, and this one's hilarious, is that in San Francisco, sitting on city sidewalks is illegal from the hours of 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. You can sit and lie down out and go to sleep from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., but from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., you may not sit on the sidewalks. This is a newish ordinance. It was passed in San Francisco in 2010. The first offense will earn you a $50 fine, and subsequent offenses can earn you a $500 fine and up to 30 days in jail. But, here's the thing we know about a lot of laws: even though it's illegal, who are they going to ticket? B&B Production says about the bread, recently we came back from San Francisco, but thankfully we weren't carrying any bread. Thankfully for you, you didn't have any bread in any baskets or open containers while you were outside. And Dining with Derek says, this is a joke, as many do it anyways, right? I'm sure this was put on the voters, right? It was like a lot. Somebody said, hey, we should make this ban because people are sitting on our sidewalks. We can't walk by them. And then does anybody enforce it, right? That's always the second part of any of these laws. The 11th thing that's illegal in California, but legal in other places, is trucks, big trucks with trailers, driving more than 55 miles per hour on our highways. On the highways in California, the standard speed limit is 65 miles per hour, or maybe more out in the suburbs, in the country. In the cities, it's 65, but there is a lower speed limit for trucks, which means that when you're driving on the freeway, if you're like, why are these trucks driving so slow? Why are they clogging up the freeway? It's because by law, they can't drive as fast as passenger cars can. I feel like, to me, this is one of those where, what's the difference between 55 and 65? And maybe truckers would say, Chris, it's a big difference. But I feel it creates like a whole bunch of kind of ridiculous traffic on the highways that we don't need to have, particularly because trucks are supposed to drive on our 4-lane highways in the third lane, not the lane right by the exits, but over here. And so just that extra slow traffic, particularly if you're on some of the routes like the Interstate 5, the main route through California that has a lot of trucks on it, it can get a little crazy and everybody's like, can you please go a little bit faster? And Phil says that's not one that's being enforced. And Dining with Derek says, I've seen trucks going 70 miles per hour. They probably would say they're going with the flow of traffic, but technically that is too fast for them. Cottage Full of Love says, well, now I feel bad for the constant road rage towards them, and now you know why, right? So this is the other reason why I'm actually going through this whole list of things for people who either live in California, come into California, like when you're here and you're like, I just don't understand why this is the way it is. Well, some of these laws are the reason why things in San Diego are the way they are. B&B Productions says, B&B Productions says driving in California is legit insanity. And Brooklyn Joe says if you get hit by a truck at 55 miles per hour, it'll hurt less. Thank you for that one, Brooklyn Joe. 10 miles. It's definitely going to make a difference. And Kathy says when she came to Los Angeles from Australia, people were driving so fast that it was scary. Corrected in the next comment. Points Traveler says, have they outlawed the color yellow yet? Not yet, but let's not like it too much, because if we find out we like it too much, there might be some people that might decide we can't have yellow anymore. The 12th law in California, and this is another one of those like citrus laws, like bringing things into the state. You may not transport a handgun into California unless the handgun is unloaded and in a locked container other than the glove compartment or utility compartment of a vehicle. I realize we probably don't have a lot of people that are visiting the U.S. that bring their handguns with them, but if you're within the U.S. and you're coming to California and you do carry one of those, no, it has to be unloaded and in a locked container. So no road rage. No road rage for you coming across the state border. All right. The 13th thing that is illegal in California, but okay around the rest of the world, is in the city of Santa Monica. It is illegal to play percussion instruments on the beach. So drums, cymbals, tambourines, any of those sorts of things are percussion instruments. And in Santa Monica, which is like the big beach town in Los Angeles, they are forbidden on the beach. Why? Venice Beach, the neighboring beach to Santa Monica, has a lot of really big and noisy drum circles. The hippies in Venice Beach like to come there and bring their bongo drums of like drum circles of like 40, 50, 100 people that come out there to drum. And so clearly the residents of Santa Monica were like, not here. We want a little bit of peace and quiet, not your 100-person drum circle. Brandon Torres says Santa Monica is so strict, right? Like in a flow down of things, how we get our laws, right? There's the federal government in the U.S. has laws, the state has laws, the city then has laws. And so I think within California, Santa Monica is definitely one of the strictest cities around. There's also a few municipalities in San Francisco for sure, and a few of the municipalities around the San Francisco Bay Area are also pretty strict too. Justin says, do steel drums count? I think they would. They would be percussion instruments. Dining with Derek says, wonder if you get in trouble for hitting pots and pans. I think you would get in trouble for hitting pots and pans. Scott Walker says, I saw a naked homeless guy on a bench in Santa Monica. Luckily, he wasn't playing a tambourine or he'd been in a lot of trouble. That is sure enough, Scott. That's like one of those interesting things where you're like, if you are dirty and smelly and crazy enough, then you can do whatever you want. But then we dive into a whole different realm of like, how do we solve that problem, which is probably for a different video. The 14th thing that's illegal in California but okay around the world is in the city of Glendale, which is in Los Angeles. It's near where a lot of movies are made. A lot of movies are made in Burbank. Glendale's the neighboring city. You might hear a lot of TV shows or movies also being shot in Glendale. In Glendale, dogs are not illegal, but dogs are not allowed in elevators in Glendale. Period. Dogs and public elevators. For whatever reason, the city of Glendale has deemed it illegal to take your dog onto an elevator according to the city's restriction that says no person owning or having charge, care, custody, or control of any dog shall cause or allow it to be taken into any elevator in any office building, retail store, or public building. This section shall not apply to dogs being used by the blind. So if it's a seeing eye dog, that's okay, but any other dog, you can't go in the elevator with you. That's right. Ryan asks if some of this stuff has made me consider living in California. I frankly love living in California. I really do love it here. I have a whole live stream about all the reasons why I love California and why I am not leaving California. Some of these things certainly annoy me, but I have no plans to leave California anytime soon. The 15th thing that's illegal in California, but and it's just an interesting one, is in the city of Arcadia, which, by the way, this picture was taken in the city of Arcadia at the LA Arboretum. In the city of Arcadia, peacocks have the right of way to cross any street, including driveways. And I'll just make this bigger. Make this picture bigger for a moment so you can see that's the spunky princess staring down this peacock, because at the LA Arboretum, which is like the botanic garden at the center of the city Arcadia, there's a whole bunch of wild peacocks. They're so proud of their wild peacocks, they roam the cities, that they have given peacocks officially the right of way per law. So if you're in a car and you're in Arcadia, please yield to the peacocks. Kathy says these rules are so weird. Did the council decide one day what stupid rule can we make up today? And again, this is one where like every one of these I'm sure had a reason, but yes, sometimes this one and this one and this one, and do we really need that one? And by the way, as I was putting this list together, there's like so many weird laws on the books in California. Like in San Francisco, it is illegal to wash your car with dirty underwear. Like that's a law on the books in San Francisco. And so this list could be 100 long if I included like all of these like super ridiculous laws. I've just picked the ones that I think actually like impact people or could impact you as a visitor, or you'd be like, why is that? It's interesting about all of these peacocks in Arcadia. How is it that people don't run them over? And hey, there we go. This is another interesting California one. In a few cities in California, San Francisco and Long Beach in particular, it is illegal to store stuff in your garage instead of your car. So in San Francisco, the way this reads is in the San Francisco Housing Code, it says private and public storage garages in apartment houses and hotels shall be used only for storage of automobiles. Interesting one. In where we live, in Orange County, California, we live in a homeowners association, which for people who aren't familiar with this concept, a homeowner association is like a collection of houses that were all built together at a certain point of time. They have generally some more restrictive code than the city does. You pay some monthly allowance into the homeowner association, and they help mow the lawn, paint your house, do those sorts of things. It depends on the homeowner association. But our homeowner association has regulations that if you have a 2-car garage and you have 2 cars, you need to park your first 2 cars in the garage before you park those cars out on the street. It's another one where it's only as good as it's enforced. In our neighborhood, it's not enforced because it's a ridiculous thing to say, particularly the one that says you can't store stuff, period. The way the San Francisco one is read would mean that like anything in your garage you couldn't have there other than your car. But because there's so little parking in San Francisco, they're really trying to say, we don't want garages to turn into storage units. We need to put cars in those garages. But, people like to use their garages for home offices or for ping pong tables. And then it becomes like, again, who are the police that are knocking on doors to be like, can I see in your garage? Uh-oh, here is a fine. Larry says, hey, Chris, where is OC Girl? I think she's about right over there. Brandon says the HOA better pay for storage units. They better pay, but they don't. And Ryan says no one parks their cars in their garages here in British Columbia. So much stuff indeed. And then Brandon says some homeowner associations are insane. Some are insane. Luckily ours isn't. But yeah, like the insane ones, they police parking, they police trash. There are certain laws about like when you take your trash can out, you can't have it out for more than, 5 hours, and the next day after trash collection, you can't take it out earlier than this. And some home organizations love to have people to go out there and put nasty notes on people's trash cans to be like, you left your trash can out in the street too long. Luckily, that's not where we live. 17, many cities in California, it is illegal to wash your car on the street, period. Like, if you want to wash your car, you need to wash it in your driveway, or you need to wash it, like, you need to take it to a car wash, but you can't wash your car on the street. The other one that's in a lot of California, because we have so many droughts and not enough water, is many municipalities, many cities have banned washing of cars with running water. So you can't use a hose to wash your car. Instead, you have to use a bucket and a sponge to wash your car. That's okay, but not using the hose on it. The other one that's also, oh, and we'll get to this one in number 20, but there's one that's related to this too, about regulations about where you can park your car. And Brooklyn Joe says, no overnight street parking in my homeowner association. That's an interesting one. No overnight park. Can't park on the street at night. People can visit you in the daytime, but at night you got to put it in your driveway, put it in your garage. Interesting. And Tatiana says, I think many use their garage as a gym and for workout. I've seen that quite a bit during COVID. I've seen a lot of garages definitely being outfitted for big workout areas. By the way, if you're on the live stream and you're enjoying the live stream, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. Lets YouTube know you're enjoying the video so they can spread this video to more people. We've got 140 folks on, 49 likes. I would love to see that get up to at least 75 for this one. I think that'd be fantastic. The 18th thing that's illegal in California, in particular in San Diego, is you can't keep your Christmas lights up all year round. Yeah, if you thought you were spreading holiday cheer all the time and everybody loved it, in many cities, that's not the case. In San Diego, the way their law is written is that you can't keep your Christmas lights up in San Diego past February 2nd, or you face a fine of $250. And this reads, well, I guess they talk about like even how bright your lighting can be, but in San Diego, they give you a date so you can put them up at this point and end them at this point, and it's 120 days. Our homeowner association does similar things. For us, our homeowner association says you may hang your holiday lights from Thanksgiving until January 15th. Now, are the HOA police going to go around and tell people to take them down? I don't know. Probably depends how big, crazy, out of hand the display is. In San Diego, the reason for it, why was this on the books? Everybody asks. In San Diego, there is a large observatory looking out into space on Palomar Mountain, which is east of San Diego. And so San Diego tries really hard to not pollute the night sky with light too much so that the big telescopes can still see out into the sky. Jeff says, what if the lights aren't on? It's probably okay. My dad, Electric Rick, keeps a lot of his lights up all year round because they're like mounted on the house and these sorts of things, and they're just not on all year round, and nobody's come by to give him a hard time yet. John says the American laws are hilarious. They are hilarious for sure. Tatiana says, but Chris, how serious is it if someone breaks some of these illegal things that you mentioned? It really depends what it is. It really depends what some of these laws are. You know, I think the condiment law that I started with, there are going to be the police that are out there that are going to be like, are you giving out straws? Are you giving out forks? We're giving you a fine for this. We're writing you up for these things. Some of these other things, less so. But number 19 is that in Los Angeles County, it is illegal to throw a football or a frisbee on the beach during the summer months. Kind of. The way this law was written up, or why this law is on the books, and what this law actually says in LA County, it says beachgoers, and they write it in the positive, beachgoers may throw, kick, or roll any ball or light object on LA County beaches during the off-peak season between Labor Day and Memorial Day, as long as persons or property are not endangered, and may do so year-round in established or designated areas if they receive permission from the Department of Beaches and Harbors or a lifeguard. And in California, we have nearly every city that has a beach has a lifeguard department where these people are responsible for saving lives of people when they drown. And lifeguards are kind of generally responsible for the beach, but lifeguards are not the law. They aren't police, so they don't write tickets. LA wanted to make this law so that if the lifeguards went to people who were being obnoxious with their frisbee or their football and say, hey, knock it off, that then it's illegal to not follow the lifeguard's instructions. And I will say, as someone who is an avid beachgoer and walker, I have many times had to put my hand up to stop a frisbee or football from hitting me or hitting somebody that I was walking with, because there really are a lot of people that are quite careless about their frisbees and footballs. Ramen Goda says, I don't know why LA beaches ban football. I bring my football in San Diego beaches. Ramen Goda, now you know why, because the beaches in LA are crowded and people are frankly just reckless about their beaches. Reckless about their footballs. It's just like throw it over. It doesn't matter, particularly on some of the like July 4th, those sorts of things. You know what? Hawaii is another one that does this. By the way, hi, drinky drink to the live stream. Hawaii is another one where on a lot of their beaches, particularly Waikiki, they have signs that say in Waikiki the beaches are for passive enjoyment only, no active activities like throwing frisbees, playing ball, etc., etc., etc. All right, we're at number 20, which is the last one on this list. In Los Angeles and some other cities across California, it is illegal to do this. What is this? This is parking a car in the front yard of a house. You might say, it's my yard. I should be able to do what I want with it. And not according to Los Angeles. According to Los Angeles, you may only park your car in the driveway or the garage, but not on the front lawn of your house. I have had friends that have gotten tickets for parking their car on their front lawn of the house. Here went the theory of one of my friends that got that ticket in Redondo Beach, is they were washing their car. And they said, well, you know what? Instead of washing my car on my driveway where the water just runs down the street into the storm drain, how about I park my car on my front lawn and wash my car on my lawn so that the water for the car goes to water the lawn. But it is illegal to park your car on your lawn. So no, you need to use the water for your car, and then you need to use the water for your lawn. Now, this is not one of my numbers, but one thing, if you do visit California, you'll see that is legal in California, and this was a significant change very recently, is street vending. Used to be outlawed at the California level. The state of California had a ban against selling stuff on public sidewalks and public roadways. But California recently decided that law isn't on the books at the state of California anymore. They dissolved that law. And so now, across the state, it is legal to sell almost anything, almost anywhere. So when you go to beach cities, you go to Los Angeles, you'll see like a lot of stuff just set up on the sidewalks, on freeway exits, these sorts of things, selling you oranges, roses, watermelons. Here's a supermarket that's kind of just put their stuff out on the street to sell. And so if you're like, is it really legal to do that? And the answer is that in much of California, it is really legal to do that. They should technically have a business license, and if they're selling you prepared foods like hot dogs, they should also technically have a health permit. Do they? Does anybody check them in a lot of places? Some cities, like San Diego, have passed restrictions to say, well, people can't sell stuff at the beach on busy days. They can't block the boardwalk. They can't be in the historic areas of Balboa Park where people used to take pictures. But that's like restricting it to like these specific areas people can't street vend, as opposed to a blanket across the street.
Fellow explorers, it is now Q&A time. If you've got a question, I've got an answer.
All right, fellow explorers. Well, now you know at least 20 things that are illegal in California, but seem to be okay in the rest of the world. Give you some perspective on the state, what's going on here, and why. Now I'd love to take your questions and give you some answers. And as usual, I'll be giving away a Spunky Princess t-shirt today to someone who can answer one of my questions. All right. Tatiana says, how can anyone remember all of these things that are illegal? It can't be easy knowing all this and staying out of trouble. You know, the good news is that a lot of these things aren't enforced all that much. It's just that when they are enforced, like you get that random cop that drives by your house when you're washing your car on your front lawn, and it's like, boy,
and they were in a bad mood, and then you get a ticket. Garrett says, heading to Knott's Berry Farm next week. What is something out of the ordinary that I cannot miss? You know, Garrett, out of the ordinary at Knott's Berry Farm. I mean, I just enjoy the park. I enjoy walking around. What's something maybe nearby that's out of the ordinary? Porto's Bakery is a great Cuban bakery restaurant that's near Knott's Berry Farm. So if you've never been to Porto's, definitely check that out. It's about 4 blocks from Knott's Berry Farm. Porto's, Portos. Points Traveler asks if San Diego has the least restrictive laws out of the major cities. I don't think so. I mean, San Diego is technically the second largest city in California. Los Angeles is number 1. San Diego is number 2. You might think it's San Francisco, but it's not. San Diego is actually bigger than San Francisco. So San Diego has a fair bit of laws as well. Phil says, when is your next trip? Our next trip later this month. We are going to Phoenix and Sedona in Arizona. Drinky Drink says, unrelated, but can you please make more videos with your dad? Yes. Expect more coming up soon. We've got an idea of what our next one will gonna be, so you can expect that one here in December for the Yellow Productions Vlogmas. If you haven't figured it out already, I'm uploading a new video every day this month. I've promised for at least the first 15 days, but I'll see how long I can keep that going to, you know, be a daily vlogger. I mean, I guess they're technically not daily vlogs because I'm not vlogging about my life, but they're great videos that I've recorded, edited, had ready to go, and you know, when I do 1 or 2 a week, they just back up, and so the floodgates are open, and I'm getting a whole bunch of videos out there. B&B Productions says, thank you for your San Francisco vids. You are most welcome. Big Italian Meatball says, what's my favorite Star Trek? The Next Generation is my favorite Star Trek. I love Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard, and also Brent Spiner as Data. Side note, I have pictures with both of them. Seagull and I went to get a picture with Patrick Stewart when he was in LA for Star Trek convention, and I got a picture with Brent Spiner, who plays Data at San Diego Comic-Con. Don says, are you going to do updated walking tours? I'm sure I will do plenty more walking tours in 2022, 2023. Is there a particular one that you're looking forward to having me do? Wu-Tang says, why is California so expensive to live compared to most other states? A, our taxes are high. B, everybody wants to live here. So many people that want to live here drives the property values up. And so many people that want to leave, but there's still so many people that want to live here. Cottage Full of Love says, NorCal is much easier going. So nice up here. I don't know what part of NorCal you're in, Cottage Full of Love, but I wouldn't say the San Francisco Bay Area is more easygoing. But certainly the part of NorCal, like north of San Francisco, that is definitely easy peasy. Ramen Goda says, can you do a travel guide about Arizona or Phoenix? Certainly the places we're going to. We'll see if I get to a Phoenix one, but I'll certainly get to one on Sedona. Tatiana says, how was San Diego and SeaWorld? Awesome. We loved going to SeaWorld. We had a good day there. We were there last about 18 months ago during kind of like the height of COVID when they had just reopened the park, but none of the rides were going. And so it was kind of sad 18 months ago. We really enjoyed being back in SeaWorld again, seeing life back to it. I know there are a bunch of people who don't like the park for various reasons, but I grew up in SeaWorld, and so because I grew up in San Diego, there's still a big part of me that really enjoys both SeaWorld and the San Diego Zoo, which if you haven't seen them yet, well, I know you have. I know Phil, Tatiana, both you have, but if you haven't and you're watching this, those videos came out in the last few days. MT says, you should go to Little Miss Barbecue in Phoenix if you have a chance. I will take a picture of your suggestion, MT, so that here, my phone, take a picture of it so that I remember to find that up. Ramen Go says, have you tried the taco stand? Yes, it is good Mexican food at the taco stand. Tatiana asks if it's illegal to camp or sleep at the beach. Yes, it is illegal to camp and sleep at the beach unless you are at a designated campground. There are some state campgrounds, like some beaches that have state campgrounds, you know, like pay and reserve and all sorts of things, but you cannot sleep on the beach for free. The way many municipalities have set that up, like in particular Newport Beach here in Orange County, they just have a beach curfew. And so they say, like, from the hours of 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., thou shalt not be on the beach unless thou is transiting the beach. Like if you're walking along the beach, it's fine, but you can't like stop and sit down at nighttime. That's how that law is typically enforced. Grant says, concerning the law, have you had any trouble while filming? Concerning the law, no, I've never had any popo or anybody come up to me from that perspective to say what I'm doing is illegal. All the time with like security guards and those sorts of things that, their job is tell people they can't film here. Okay, whatever. Thanks. I recently had that in Mission Beach where they were like, oh, you can't film here. Okay, great. I got whatever footage I need already. So thank you. Thank you for letting me. Whenever people tell me that I can't film, I always just thank them very much for letting me know. Because they are just doing their job. Justin says, can you drink alcohol on the beach? That's illegal in most of Australia. It is illegal in most of California, too. San Diego, it used to be legal on most of the beaches, but there was a big, fiasco one year with way too many drunk people, and so it's banned in San Diego beaches, too. Ramen wants to know if Las Vegas is dangerous to visit. Depends what you mean by dangerous. I mean, I think Las Vegas is one of the safer places you could go to because there's all the security as part of the casinos and things like that. The Strip has been getting a little sketchy. Downtown Vegas has been getting a little sketchy with kind of the vagrants and the homeless population. So, is it as safe as it once used to be? Hard, it feels less safe now than pre-COVID, but I would not consider Vegas a dangerous location to visit. No. Jeff says, is sports betting still illegal? As somebody who is not a big sports bettor, I haven't really followed the legality of it. We had some big propositions about it, but I don't think the law passed to legalize it across the state. Alex says, will you do an interview with your mom too? I will have to see if she is up for it. So Alex, consider that a question for my mom. But I think she, like OC Girl, is somebody who prefers to be behind the camera rather than in front of the camera. Momo says, do you remember Captain Kids World at SeaWorld back in the 80s? I loved Captain Kids World back at SeaWorld in the 80s for sure. And some of the things like their little bouncy air trampoline thing, still there. The ropes are still there. They call it Sesame Place now, but a lot of the cool things that were part of Captain Kids World are still at SeaWorld today. And the Spunky Princess really enjoyed them a few days ago when we visited. Tatiana says, will you do an interview with MacGyver? Funny story about that. That's our bunny. And he hangs out in this room inside in the daytime, and then we put him out at nighttime so he can kind of go run around. And I always put him out before I live stream because otherwise he digs in his cardboard and things like that. And it'd be kind of noisy. You hear my mic's up here. That's what I'm digging on. And as I was putting him out today, OC Girl was saying hey, when is MacGyver gonna get his own live stream? So I'll think about that, see what his answers are. And Phil helps me out and says sports betting is still illegal. Prop 27 failed. All right, well, thank you for that, Phil.
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
All right, fellow explorers, it is now time to give away a Spunky Princess t-shirt if you can answer my question correctly. And my question for you to win is, of these 20 things that are illegal in California, which one did I feature in the thumbnail for this video? If you can tell me what that person is throwing in the thumbnail of this video that is illegal on LA County beaches, then you will win that Spunky Princess t-shirt shipped to you anywhere in the world. And if you don't get to win one and you want to pick some up for your friends, it's the holidays. Head over to shop.yellow-productions.com. You can get those shirts shipped to you anywhere in the world. And if you're wondering, Chris, when is the next live stream going to be? Next week sometime, but I haven't picked the day or time yet. Head over to update.yellow-productions.com and sign up for the Yellow Productions mailing list to be notified as soon as I'm doing a live stream.
And now we have a winner chicken dinner.
Congratulations to Nick Haste. You have the correct answer, Frisbee. That's right. In LA beaches, you may not throw Frisbees on the beach during busy summer months unless it's in designated areas. So, Nick, send me an email to chris@yellow-productions.com. You'll find it in the description below. Let me know your address, what size the shirt you want, and I will get that headed right over to you. Second place, but sorry, no shirt, goes to Aaron. Third place goes to the Aristocrat. Thank you all for playing, and thank you all for hanging out with me today as part of this live stream. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you in the next video.